This is Alima Hodaki. Thank you very much for being with us. So tell us a little bit more, because you researched this story. How hard was it to get people on camera for it?
Oh my, very difficult. It was a very, very challenging report to do. And we found out that even players, for example, who've talked about this topic in the past, that does not necessarily mean that they want to talk about it again. So, and we can understand that because it's a very sensitive and emotional topic for them. And we also found out that trying to find an active player, so somebody currently right now playing, that's almost impossible to do. So the ones that are often willing to talk about it, but even they are very reluctant, those are often retired players or players near the end of their career, because it's a lot safer for them and they have a lot less to lose.
Why do you think it's so difficult for them?
After having talked
What
to
are the
some
risks of coming out and talking about it?
Very huge. So, for example, for one of them, there's still a very huge stigma attached to mental illness. There's also a double standard in the way we treat mental illness and physical injuries. So, for example, if you have cancer, that will never be seen as a weakness. But in football, for example, it has a very strong macho culture. So if, for example, you say you are depressed, you are sad, that's seen as a weakness. And for a lot of these players, they don't want to be made the laughingstock in the change room. And at the end of the day, the risk is just too huge, because these are players who could lose their contract. These are players who, might not be afraid of losing their position. So it's better to remain quiet and suffer in silence.
Okay, and I just want to confirm, actually, with my production team, I understand that I think that we have finally the piece on this story. Is that correct? If so, fire it away, team.
I was talked about as the new Wayne Rooney, and I scored early in the games and was having success. Chelsea was there watching, and Ajax I was practicing with, and so yeah, somewhere there around 16, a lot started to basically kick off.
After Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Martin Bengtsson was one of the most gifted talents emerging from Sweden. He captained the Swedish under-17s, and before long, he got a call from Inter Milan. But what started as a dream soon turned into a nightmare. Martin tried to take his own life, and he's not alone. A 2015 study showed more than a third of players were suffering from symptoms of mental health problems. It said that depression is more widespread among footballers than in society in general. It affects both current and retired players, many of whom also suffer from sleeping problems and alcohol abuse. Active players are up to 4 times more at risk if they have had 3 or more injuries. It was an injury during Martin's first year at Inter that triggered his problems.
When you play so much football, it's the only way to value yourself. So it's always about the game. You're never better than your latest game or training.
The medical staff at Inter did not pick up on Martin's depression. Some even thought he had epilepsy. The Football Players Union FIFPro wants mental health issues to be treated the same as physical injuries.
It's a joint responsibility from all stakeholders. So organizing body UEFA, who is perhaps directing the clubs to do something, and the club as an employer has also the responsibility to take care of the health of the players.
Martin Bengtsson has come a long way since that fateful day. He's got a new life now, but he also campaigns for change and to educate aspiring footballers on the importance of having a plan B.
Okay, and we're rejoined now, of course, by the reporter who worked on this piece and worked on this story, Alima Hodaki. So let's just talk for a minute about the player who we just saw there, Robert Enke. Why did his team not pick up on this?
Okay, that was actually Martin Bengtsson in the piece.
Excuse me.
It's okay, but yeah, in Germany, for example, they also had their own, where they learned a lot, because Robert Enke, for example, he changed a lot in terms of when it comes to raising the awareness of, when it comes to mental health problems in Germany. So he actually, it was a very sad story, because he was supposed to be the next big thing after Oliver Kahn, very talented goalkeeper. He committed suicide in 2009. But Germany did learn a lot. So after this incident, for example, Germany, they created a hotline that's available to the players. There's counselors and psychologists available to players. And change has been slow, but it's also been happening in other countries. So, for example, as you saw in this report with Martin, so instead of alienating him, the Swedish Football Association decided, let's work with him. So he goes across the country and he speaks to players of all ages and he educates them about the importance of having a plan B. In England, there's more workshops now being done when it comes to educating clubs and players about mental illness. So, yeah, a positive and a negative.
So it's clear that more is definitely being done by these various clubs. And we heard some suggestions there in the piece as well of what else could be done. Do you get the sense from speaking with both the players and with authorities and experts that enough is being done, though? That it will prevent issues like this?
Yeah, and that's a really good question because it is moving in the right direction. But like you said, we can still do a lot better. So, for example, UEFA, for example, they have a lot of power. They, in my opinion, they should be pushing the agenda a lot stronger, like they've done with racism and kicking out homophobia and all of that. And there also needs to be a lot more focus on psychiatrists and not just sports psychologists concerned with boosting confidence levels and performance levels. And lastly, from the players that I've talked to, a lot of players, they want anonymity. So for them, it's some of them, they want to seek help, but as that help needs to come from independently funded psychologists or psychiatrists, and it has to be happening outside of the club.
Okay, so much left to be done. Alima Hodaki from our sports desk, thank you very much for this exclusive reporting. We appreciate it.